Hello, and welcome to this information session on National Employment Standards. David, the National Employment Standards are new under the Fair Work Act. What are they?
The National Employment Standards are a very important part of Labor's safety net. It comes in two parts, the Modernised Award and the National Employment Standards. And the standards are a set of 10 conditions covering a range of important and basic workplace rights and conditions. And the important thing to remember about National Employment Standards is that they will apply to everyone, every employee from the boardroom to the postroom.
And they come into operation on January 1?
They come into operation on the 1st of January along with the Modernised Award, yes.
Who do the standards cover?
Well, they cover everybody, every employee, not just award-covered employees, but everybody from the chief executive down to the person in the photocopying room or the guy who tends the boilers, everyone from the top to the bottom.
And what do they cover?
They cover off on some basic things. There are 10 of them, as I said. They cover maximum weekly hours, request for flexible working arrangements, parental leave and related entitlements, annual leave, personal or carers leave and compassionate leave, community service leave, long service leave, public holidays, the giving of notice of termination and redundancy, and the provision of a Fair Work information statement.
While there are some new things there, some of them look pretty familiar.
Yes, they are, and they cover off on, as I say, some fairly basic conditions which won't come as a surprise to too many people. Maximum weekly hours, parental leave, annual leave, personal carers leave are all things that we became familiar with the Fair Pay and Condition Standards under Work Choices. Long service leave and public holidays, of course, have been standard fare for some time. But the interesting thing is that for the first time, these become compulsorily included in everyone's employment. They're not negotiable. So, if you and I decided that it'd be a jolly good idea for you to work on a public holiday, you're now entitled as a matter of law either not to work on that holiday or to be paid additional money to do that or to be given a day off. These are things which are required now in everyone's employment contract.
And you mentioned before that this is part of the government's intention to have a better work-life balance for all Australians?
Yes. One of the objects of the Act is to provide a better work-life balance, and you can see that in the request for flexible working arrangements. Briefly, any parent who has a child under school age, or in the case of a child with a disability, a child under 18, has the right to request, not to demand, to request from his or her employer that they adjust their working hours so they can better meet their child-minding commitments. For example, if you start work at 6 o'clock but you can't get your child to childcare until 7, then you can request that your employer change your working hours to accommodate. Now, it may be that the operational requirements of the business won't allow that to happen, and the employer is not bound to say yes, but the employer is bound to think about it seriously, and if there is no good reason relating to the operational demands of the business why your request shouldn't be complied with, then there is an obligation to meet those flexible working hours. Similarly, with parental leave, there is now scope for both mum and dad to take 12 months unpaid parental leave consecutively. So mum might go away with the birth of the child and then be away for up to 1 year. Typically that was the end of the matter. Now, if they are so wishing, then dad can take over and have 12 months after that. The rules, however, remain much the same, that mum and dad can't take parental leave at the same time. And of course the object of parental leave is that any one of us can have a child, mum or dad can go home and care for the child for a period of time and then have the right to come back and take up the job that they left without the fear of that job having been taken away from them in their absence. So in that way, the work-life balance, the family-friendly idea is preserved and enhanced.
So what's really important to remember about the National Employment Standard?
Well, that they come in on the 1st of January, that they cover absolutely everybody, they're not negotiable, and unlike the standards brought in by Work Choices, if you have an existing agreement which covers off on annual leave and personal leave, as it probably will, it's not going to be any good any longer if that standard doesn't meet the National Employment Standard. Any workplace agreement that you currently have, whatever kind it is, must be improved to meet the National Employment Standard from the 1st of January if it doesn't already do so.
Thanks, David.
Thanks, Ian.
You can call the Fair Work information line for more information on the Fair Work Act and how it affects your business. You can call 1300 10 21 67.